All right, Noza, one take. Finally, here's the announcement we've all been waiting for. I'm probably going to ramble, so please just bear with me. We'll try and get through it together. There isn't really an easy way for me to say it, so I'm just going to say it. I'm gender fluid. And don't Google it, because I know that's what you're about to do. Please don't Google it. That's one of the reasons why it's taken me 7 months to understand that this is what I am and to accept it. It's because there's a lot of confusion out there, and it's been misconstrued as things that it's not. It's been misunderstood and talked about and discussed by people who really don't understand it at all, which doesn't help. And it's been misused and misappropriated by people for things that are not what gender fluid means. People have used it to describe an aesthetic, a way of dressing, and gender fluid is a lot more than that. And it also doesn't really fit that. I tend to find that on social media, there's a lot of people who use that hashtag gender fluid because it's trending. It's a trendy thing to say. And they're using it to describe how they dress. You know, they don't conform to gender norms. I would say that's more a non-binary or androgynous way of dressing, or gender non-conforming even. But it's not gender fluid. And there's also people who are using it as, because it's trending, they're using it as a banner to fight societal oppression. And sure, you know, freedom for everyone, freedom of expression, that's great. But people who are gender fluid, we're already very few and far between. And by using it in a way that's out of context and you're skewing the meaning of gender fluid, it makes it that much harder for us to find each other, and it's really not helpful. So that's what gender fluid isn't, but it would probably help if I explain what gender fluid does mean, or at least how I understand it, because that's what I experience. And gender is a very subjective thing. It's sort of like color. You know that you and someone else, you call that color green, or you call it red, or whatever. But you don't know that what you're seeing is the same way that someone else sees it. You might be seeing completely different colors. You might see red, and you both call it red, but they might be seeing what you would call green, and you have no way of knowing. It's part of your internal experience, and that internal experience is unique to every single person. We are all different in how we interpret the world. But it's gender identity, I would say, as a whole, it's part of your identity, part of your character, part of your personality. Your gender is an important part of all of that. It's a foundation of who you are and how you understand and interpret the world. It's different from biological sex, which is your physical body. It's different from your sexuality, which is how you relate to other people, your attraction to them romantically, sexually, emotionally, mentally, etc. And then your gender is your internalized understanding of who you are in relation to that. So in relation to your physical body and your sexuality and all of that. So it's part of that, but it's not those other things. It's separate. Now, fluid gender, it should be really self-explanatory, honestly. It's right there in the name. It's gender fluid. It's not a static gender. It's not male. It's not female. It's not non-binary or anything like that. It is gender fluid. It's not a single gender. It's a state of your gender changing. It's a categorization. Your gender isn't static. It doesn't stay fixed. It's dynamic. It is fluctuating. And it's really weird. It's a very strange experience, But that's what I understand gender fluid being to me. I don't have a single gender, and it's taken me, as I said before, it's taken me 7 months to understand exactly what I'm experiencing and identify and accept that, okay, gender fluid, that's what I am. It's like some days I feel like a guy and I feel totally comfortable in this body, and then other days I feel like a girl. I feel like a woman stuck in a man's body. It's really strange. And then other days I feel it's completely other genders. I've felt non-binary. I've felt gender neutral, which I would say is sort of a mix of several at once, 2 or sometimes 3 or 4 at the same time. I've felt agender some days, which is, it's kind of like the color white. So black is like a mix of everything, and that's kind of what gender neutral is, kind of, I would say. And then agender, it's white. It's an absence of all other colors, but it's not necessarily feeling that you have no gender at all. You have a hole inside of you. It doesn't feel like something's missing. It's a different feeling. It's a feeling that you have no gender, but it's its own thing. It's its own thing, and you don't feel like you're less of a person. You still feel perfectly valid in who you are, but it's different. It's a really interesting feeling. And gender fluid, I've gone through all of those, sometimes not even from day to day. Sometimes it's just over 2 minutes I've changed from feeling like one to feeling like another. It can be quite extreme. It can be disconcerting. It can be scary, but trying to understand and accept that as part of who I am has been really, really important. This whole journey for me, coming to understand how I feel, has been really challenging, especially in more recent months, when I've realized that the damage that I've done to myself, like I wasn't suppressed or rejected by society around me. Certainly, you know, society had a part to play in pushing onto me all these gender norms and stereotypes and things like that, but there was no individual person who I can point to and say, you know, you're the reason why I suppressed this part of myself for 27 years. I did this to myself. There was this other part of me that I didn't want. I didn't understand it, and I didn't want to. And even from a really young age, I'm understanding that what I did was I took this other part of me and I was ashamed and I rejected it. And I pushed it so far deep down into a dark corner inside of me that for 27 years, I didn't even really know it was there. And that's really, it hurts. It hurts to know that you wounded yourself so greatly that you hated yourself for that long. And I guess that's this is a really big reason why I'm making this video. Sure, it's great to share it with you guys, but it's a way for me to admit in a more significant way to myself that this is what I did, and then to accept who I am, to accept this other part of me and start the healing process. And I suppose it's also a message to a younger me who didn't really understand, and that's fine, but I can embrace that younger me and I can forgive myself for what I did, for rejecting who I was. And it's painful, but the healing process always is. feels good. It feels good to get it out. I suppose as final closing thoughts on the video, if you've got any questions, please let me know down in the comments. I really would like to answer them. If there's anything you want to know at all, I'm not going to be offended, I promise. Just ask. I suppose what I'd like to do is, if there's enough similar questions, is to make more videos talking about this, and to do, there are other people who've done it, but to try and clear up some of the myths around gender fluid, and to clear up some of the confusion that's out there, because there is a lot of it. There's a lot of misinformation, and if I can do my part to help make it easier for the next person who comes along who's gender fluid and they have questions and they don't understand who they are, I'd say that's well worth more videos. And I guess as well, to everyone who's stuck by me through the ups and downs of making content, streaming YouTube videos, writing books, building games, like all these different things I've done. To those who stuck by me through all of it, thank you, seriously, for all the support that we've had. It's been an amazing journey, and it doesn't end here for me at all, by any means. This is just the next step, I guess, for who I am. And I suppose to you and anyone new, if you want to join me as I turn the page and start the next chapter, you're most welcome to join me. Thank you.